Hello everyone, and today I will tell you about Soulframe, everything we know so far. Subscribe to the channel. I looked at the statistics and 94% of people watch without a subscription. It's not difficult for you to subscribe to this channel. And go watch the video. Soulframe, teaser trailer. The official teaser of Soulframe starts by showing a lantern with strange symbols. Immediately after, a subdued wolf is introduced into the frame, and the chain that holds it down is being nailed to the ground by an unknown soldier. The camera then pans out to depict a sword, or perhaps the first Excalibur, which has been driven into a medium-sized rock. In a different scenario, we meet a captive and his incarcerator, who deems him as family yet strikes the man thereafter. And once again, the same iconography we have seen on the lantern is briefly highlighted in the background. However, the air of mystery does not end there, as we meet the unconscious captive by the shore as he is dragged by a moose with eyes painted on its antlers. After having recovered, he goes to the place where the soldiers are camping out. What's interesting this time around is that first, his right arm is no longer encased in some sort of locked armor. Now we get to take a closer look at the different inscriptions adorned on his seemingly powerful arm. And second, he is able to free the Excalibur, allowing him to wield it in combat. Perhaps this is an allusion to King Arthur, who was able to pull the sword from the stone, proving that he was the rightful heir to Britain. The Excalibur is also a symbol of divinity and power. In particular, its scabbard is known to possess magic, so much so that whoever uses this on the battlefield will remain protected. Going back to the teaser, our captive attacks the soldiers with the sword, but what's even more apparent is the way in which he uses his right arm to take advantage of the encounter. In a brief moment, he holds the sword with his left hand and then snaps using his right, letting him release some kind of power that knocks back the opponent. He then hammers the sword into the ground, sending a wave of strong energy, which freezes his enemies and turns them into stone. This then makes you wonder what else we will be capable of doing, assuming that this character is who we will play as. And remember the wolf in chains? Well, he was freed from his shackles soon after the fight. Soulframe, website puzzles. Although Soulframe's teaser trailer is but a glimpse into what we can expect, there is more to it than what meets the eye. When you go to the official website, you will not be able to immediately sign up for updates, nor can you reserve your envoy's name right from the bat, because you need to solve the puzzles first. When you hop into the website, you will notice the familiar arm from the teaser, but it is more distinct. There are several keyholes, which probably means that the player will need to find corresponding keys in the game to unlock their full potential as an envoy. Once you have figured out the correct combination of symbols, the right arm will be rid of its lock. Subsequent images from the trailer appear, again, with various insignias to decipher what they mean. These images refer to the scene showing the militia huddled in a campfire with the lantern, sword, and chained wolf, the captive himself who is trapped in the sky beyond the clouds, and a close-up of the wolf. Soulframe, the sign cure. Additionally, the symbols on the lantern could represent the 9 realms surrounding the world tree Yggdrasil in Norse mythology. All of the realms, including Asgard and Nibelheim, are known to house creatures of different beings. Soulframe preview, the Orangal and the Ode. This is further supported by the wolf, otherwise known as the Orangal. It could allude to Fenrir, who was chained to a rock to prevent him from unleashing his pure strength and evil into the world. In the mythos, he would be freed from oppression at the start of Ragnarok to slay the gods, particularly the chief god Odin. It is also believed that Fenrir will devour the sun. Furthermore, the moose in the trailer could be a reference to Odin. Warframe vs Soulframe. In the same interview with Crooks and lead Steve Sinclair, they confirm that the game is not a sequel to Warframe, but rather a sister of it. This could possibly mean that certain systems from the sci-fi shooter are borrowed and baked into the upcoming fantasy games, such as the PvE combat style with randomly generated environments. Where Warframe takes on a movement gameplay system, which is quick and snappy with a greater focus on shooting, Soulframe's gameplay will be more subdued and heavy to highlight its melee combat. It is important to draw a line early on in the development process where both Crooks and Sinclair share that the gameplay will be different from Elden Ring or the qualities of Souls-like titles by From Software. They did not draw inspiration from these when they initially conceptualized Soulframe. Right now, we are not yet sure what the combat will feel like since the game is currently in the very early stages of development. Although ideas started to come together in 2019, Digital Extremes only had a small team back then, mostly comprised of artists, until February of this year. Final thoughts? Soulframe will definitely be a testament to how far Digital Extremes has grown. Given how well designed Warframe is, both mechanically and aesthetically, I'm hoping to see the same treatment for this open-world fantasy MMORPG. It would be interesting to know how much of their previous game's footprint will be integrated here, whether it involves horizontal progression in which you do not need to reach endgame to feel as powerful, or the numerous loadouts and builds you can choose from depending on the equipment you craft. With the word frame being retained for this game, perhaps we will be able to change classes as easily as we can on Warframe. Who knows?